Hi, everybody. So, as promised, I have hit 108 subscribers. So, thank you all for that. Please keep coming back and supporting me, and let's grow this beautiful community that we're growing. And also, I support each and every one of you in whatever you're doing. And I really encourage you to put a link to your YouTube channel or whatever you're doing in the comments. And I'd love to subscribe to you as well. And let's just grow this community and get these spiritual channels out there and get our own message of grace out there. So I promised I will start sharing pieces of my life. So today I was going to talk about my college experience. I was 18, my first year in college, and I had been accepted to Philadelphia Textile. I don't think I really knew what I wanted to do with my life, but my brother-in-law had gone to Philadelphia Textile, and I guess I had some sort of an interest in maybe fashion design. I really actually don't know why I was going there, but I went, and my family didn't have a lot of money, but my mom always made it a big priority to get her kids to college. So she had 5 kids, and she made sure that each one of us got to college. And it wasn't easy for her. She worked really hard, and so there was a lot of pressure, I think, when she got to college to succeed. And I got to this college, Philadelphia Textile, and there were a lot of very wealthy kids there. I think kids of like families who owned big textile companies, industries, and such. And I didn't really have any extra spending money, and it was one of those predicaments. And I had been dabbling in drugs probably through high school. I had tried cocaine a couple times. Definitely wasn't addicted, but I had tried it a couple times. Smoked a little pot. Pot was never my thing, though. I really didn't like it. Still don't like it. I mean, I haven't smoked for probably 30 years. I don't know. And so anyway, one of the friends at college approached me and said, do you want to make some money? Because I can get this cocaine for a good deal, and if 3 of us go in on it, it's only such and such. And actually, I don't even remember how much it was, because I remember I think I had to ask my brother for the money, or I don't know. I don't remember a lot of these details. I remember as I'm going over what should I share, I'm going, well, I don't remember most of the details, but they were just monumental experiences in my life. So I decided to do this cocaine thing. So I put in the money, and I got my portion of this coke, and then I had no idea what to do with it. So I had another friend at school who said, well, I'll show you how to do it. So we were sitting on my bed at school, I remember, and we had everything spread out, and we were cutting it up, and he was showing me how to fold the little paper things to put the coke in, and how to cut it with B12. He's like, you gotta cut it with B12 so you can make money, which actually became a big joke because I got pink vitamin B12. And so all my cocaine was pink. So I was known as the one with the pink cocaine. Anyway, this did not end well. My roommate walked in, saw this whole thing going on. Of course, she acted completely cool. But within the week, I got a message. Well, 3 of us, the one that was helping me to do, set up my little cocaine thing, he got a call, I got a call, and one of the other girls got a call. One of the girls actually got off. Somehow she didn't get involved from the school that we had to be in the office on Monday. So I actually went home that weekend having no idea what was going on. Came back Monday. This is in my memory. This is how it went. Was called into the office, and this whole thing was revealed. And we were basically kicked out of school. They were using us as a pretty good example of, this isn't going to fly in our school. And I don't remember exactly what happened. Somehow, I think the police had been on to us, but they allowed the school to deal with it. And I remember having a lawyer, but I don't know if I actually needed a lawyer. My parents had a lawyer for me. anyway, what it came down to was just an extremely traumatic experience in my life. My parents were actually in Europe at the time that this happened. So when they said, call your parents, I didn't, my parents weren't around. I called my oldest sister and her husband, who she's 13 years older than me. So she was kind of like a mom to me, and I ended up going and staying at their house, and they were in New Jersey. And when my parents came home from Europe, they saw my stuff in the basement and they were like, what happened? And I said, I don't, I was afraid to tell them. My dad said, oh, tell us when you're ready. And my mom said, no, tell me now. It was just a scary, traumatic experience in my life. I remember sitting in the office when, right after they kicked me out of school, they were like, well, how are you doing? What are you going to do now? I said, I'm going to go kill myself. And they did send me into a counselor for about 15 minutes. Like, thank you. But I went back to my room, and I think my roommate bailed during that week, understandably. And I can remember sitting in my room, and I had gotten pills from somewhere, and I had lined all these pills up all around my body. And I was just going to take them one at a time, because my life felt over. What was I going to do? My mom had put everything she had into getting me into this school, or, paying for this school. And it was just, at that point in life, when you're 18, oh my God, everything just felt over and so traumatic. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And I can remember my friend Kim. He was very special to me at that time. And Kim, I don't know if I'm remembering this properly, so you can comment on this if I'm not. But I remember you being on the radio and mentioning something about what had happened and playing a song, Love Cats maybe, something that meant something to us. And I think that's what prevented me from taking all of those pills. So thank you. I love you. And so that moment in my life was a turning point moment, because all of my ideals about how life was supposed to be were crushed. And I had no idea what I was going to do next. Like, what do you do if you don't go to college? What do you do if you get kicked out of college for dealing drugs? No other college is going to take you. So everything that I thought was supposed to be how it was, I thought that you were supposed to grow up and go to college, and that was it. And if you didn't go to college, there really didn't seem like there was another option. So that was it for me. And I had a really good friend in high school that had committed suicide. So it felt like the end. Now, I did go on, obviously. I went on and got into another school, and things progressed, but that'll be another story. I remember at the time of this happening, I made a promise to God. I was still in that phase of like bargaining, and I said, if you get me out of this, I will never deal drugs again. I will never deal drugs again. And I've always stuck to that. I'm pretty committed with my promises. And when I was out in San Francisco in my hippie days, all my hippie friends, and of course there were a lot of drug deals going on, and I always said, don't do it around me, don't do it. And then they try to sneak it in, leave me in the car, and we're just going to run into this house for a minute, and something always went wrong every single time. So maybe that's why it happened. I don't know. That blessing that I never got further into any of that, because it sure is tempting to make a lot of money. So maybe that was a blessing for me, that I just stepped out of that world pretty early and pretty innocently. Like, it was only a month probably in. I never got into any of the big, ugly energy of it. So that's my first experience for my 108 subscriber special. And my next subscriber special is going to be 333 subscribers. So I'm loving this process. And I want to say, too, I love this platform. I think this is such a cool way for us to express ourselves and for us to say what we want to say to the world. All of us light workers, all of us energy workers, all of us who are trying to raise the vibration. Put yourself out there. Because look at what, I mean, come on. When has there ever been a moment in time when we could display ourselves in this way? We can have our own TV channel, really. That's what this is. And YouTube is so popular. That's what my kids watch is TV, you know. So I'm going to do further videos on that to really encourage community and spiritual community on YouTube. So anyway, thank you. And with each of these experiences that I share, because they were probably most of them were pretty traumatic at the time, I want to just tune in and see what higher consciousness has to say about what was happening and reflect upon it. So I'm going to do that now. And I want to say thank you again. I love each and every one of you, and I hope to see you soon on your own YouTube or whatever beautiful, wonderful thing you're doing out there in the world. I love you. So the essence of all things is the truth within us, and we've always seen that the essence of all things is the truth within us, and the diving deeper into our life is an aspect of seeing that essence, isn't it? So diving deeper into our life allows us to experience things in a different way, in a new way, in a divine way. So maybe at the time we weren't capable of seeing what was happening, what was truly going on in that moment, right, of consciousness, because the energy was so strong and the peace wasn't quite available to us in this moment. So as we reflect on these moments throughout our life, what do we see? Do we see that as we reflect on these moments of our life that maybe things bigger were happening than what we were aware of at the time? Is it true? Do we see that maybe as we reflect on these moments that there was something awakening within us? So as I see Kai in that moment in her life, I see an awakening occurring. I see an aspect of herself opening up to a divine consciousness within her that no, she was not aware of at the time because there was a lot of trauma involved. But as we look and as we see what was really truly happening, she might have led a very boring existence, right? Go to school like mom and dad say, go to school, get a job, do all these things. What had to snap her out of that? Something had to be so deep, so divine, so existentially crisis oriented that it would snap her out of that normal way of thinking, right? So these moments in our life that look like, oh my gosh, traumatic or whatever, what are they really? Are they just an existential moment to allow us to snap out of it? Because isn't it time to snap out of it? Isn't it time to snap out of the normal way of doing things, right? That people have always said, this is the way to do things, this is the way to see things, this is the way to experience things. So she got snapped, just like that, snapped, right? And then what happened from there? Everything that happened from there, she couldn't stay in school. She traveled, she followed the dead, she did other beautiful things with her life that allowed her to have all of these amazing experiences that otherwise wouldn't have happened if she had gotten married and got a job and settled down where she was there at that time. Is it true? So we can see these moments in our life, and if we really look at them and go, wow, what did that do for me? Let me look at my life before that moment. Let me look at my life after that moment. Oh my gosh, that's a huge difference in the existential shift that happened in my path, isn't it? So I needed that moment. I needed that experience. I needed that awakening to bring me into a new space, to bring me into a new state, to bring me into a new way of seeing, right? So she did. She opened up to a whole new way of seeing, and she started living her life in a completely different way. So it wasn't so much I have to do things the way this person says or the way that person says, but let me see, let me experiment, let me see what happens here if I do this or if I do that, or if I, push this button or if I push that button. What's going to happen? How am I going to see life, right? So if we look back at these moments, are we traumatized by them? Because we don't need to be traumatized. We just see it as an existential awakening. It was this wonderful moment in time where we were able to go, oh, wow, there's something different. There's something different for me to see. There's something different for me to experience. And there's a different way for me to live consciously, right, in this life. And there are many moments that traumatized us right throughout life. And each one has its special value. Each one has its special way of delivering us into the light. But let's see each one as a divine moment in time where we were able to consciously be aware of something new, right? So it woke us up to something new in our life. Whether we were able to see it then or whether we're able to reflect on it now, we can see that there was a conscious awakening happening within us in that moment. And it's beautiful. So we look back on that and we say, wow, what a divine understanding that was occurring at that time. Because we are awakened to life in a whole new way that we had not been awakened to life up until that point in time. And now we can see the beauty that it provided for us, right? And the existential crisis that seemed to be happening allowed us to be divine, allowed us to question life, allowed us to question the way we've been living, allowed us to question, why am I here? What am I doing? And what is life all about? Yes, I really do want to be here. I don't really want to die. I don't really want to leave this body, but I don't want to be here in the same way that I've been here. I want to be here in a different way. I want to be here in a new way, in a live way, in a loving way, right? In a conscious way. So that's the existential crisis moment that comes to us. And we love those moments because they're so divine, they're so awakening, they're so pure, and they're so conscious. We love you, and we will see you soon. Alive, awake, and aware. That's what we are in all times, all moments, all crises. Alive, awake, and aware.